When is it that you should use the Queen's English? Hi guys, my name's Deepak Shukla, founder at Pearl Lemon Sales. We're a sales training and development agency based in the UK as well as the USA and serving clients worldwide. And here today in day number 37 of 119 days of cold calling training, we're here to talk about the use the Queen's approach. So before we get into it, feel free to click the link below to get the additional 17 strategies that are not shared in this training. So when is it that, in spite of the informality, in spite of the talking to a friend element, when is it that you should actually focus on what I call using the Queen's English? Okay, so there's a couple of elements that are important here. So mimicry, it goes without saying that if you're on the phone with someone who is extremely formal, then mirroring is very important. We'll come to a whole section on mimicry later on in this program, and we're giving examples of it all. But certainly, if you find yourself on a phone call with somebody who's extremely well spoken, enunciates every word, and clearly has a certain level of education, then talking or trying to meet them at their level is vitally important to building some level of rapport or some level of identification with each other, where you feel that, yeah, this is my people, as it were. So that's something that's important. The second element of it, though, because this one perhaps, let's say, it doesn't go without saying, but this would, of the insights into this, be perhaps more evident. I would say that where you use the Queens is when it comes to talking about the product, okay? Because if you are being informal, talking to, if you're using the forget being formal approach, you're using the talk to a friend approach. When it comes to pitching the product for the first time, you want the product to, upon first investigation, to be professional, okay? And for the first time presentation of a product, people want professionalism. It's absolutely what they want. So when it comes to the main elevator, that's where using the Queens is extremely powerful, and it doesn't even need to entirely be spoken in the Queens. By the way, when I talk about the Queen, I mean that, good afternoon, everybody. We are gathered here today. I mean, that's like a church thing, but let's just run with that example because it's a likening to what I'm trying to communicate, which is, please use the Queen's English, where you're using every element of the, you're just pronouncing everything appropriately, and you are talking, from a place where you've clearly worked on, been to finishing school, worked at have a certain level of education, and it's reflected in the way that you communicate. So using the Queen's approach is something that's is definitely really important when you're describing a product, okay, or the product. So the way to really understand this is that in sales, when you're cold calling or when you're selling a product, the people are formal and friendly, which is what's reflected in the elements leading up to talking about the pitch. So, hey Frank, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, it's Deepak here. I'm calling from a company called Pearl Lemon. Hey Deepak, how you doing? It's Richard here. I'm calling from a company called Pearl Lemon. And the reason I was calling you today, buddy, is that we've got this amazing product. The product is called, and then you get into the elements of the pitch. So that would be so Frank, listen, we offer, so here where I've made a bit of a step change here, I'm going to now go from, to give you an example, I'm going to use the talk to a friend and the forget being formal approach. And then when it comes to the elevator, the actual product itself, I'm going to use the Queen's approach. So, hi there, is this Frank? Yeah, Frank, how you doing? So Frank, my name's Deepak. I'm calling from, well, happy Monday, first of all, Frank. I hope that you're surviving. I quite like Mondays. I know, I'm a bit of a weirdo, aren't I? Anyway, Frank, yeah. So the reason I was calling you today, buddy, is that I'm calling from a company. Now listen, guys, to the step change. I'm calling from a company called Pearl Lemon. Frank, we offer sales training and development, and we specialize in working specifically with manufacturers who are going through a growth phase. One of the challenges that we've often seen in organizations such as yours, or potentially opportunities, is to tweak what happens in those sales environments when you start approaching bigger businesses and there's quite an emphasis on the nuances of technical sales in the context of a demo, for example, whether that demo is over Zoom. And because of the world having changed so much now, we found that there's a significant advantage in. So, guys, do you see? I mean, I'm spitballing this and I'm making up as I go along. But can you see that when it got to the actual main bread and butter of the pitch itself, the using the queens was really a much, in my view at least, and I've seen it across the thousands of cold calls that we've done, that the Queen's English when it comes to the actual product is important because it's your first presentation of the product. And what you want to communicate is that, wow, there's this really friendly guy, Deepak, and friendliness is shown through language and words, who is presenting a really professional product. And that's presented in its first instance through using the queens, because that's a reflection upon the product. Now, what you need to think is that, or what you need to remember is that the first product that you're selling is yourself, and you want to sell yourself as a friendly, likable human being. The second product you're selling is the product, and the product you want to present it as being professional, friendly, and likable is not something that you would attribute to a product. That would be anthropomorphism. It's not what we need to communicate here. You could have friendly people that deliver the service, but the service is professional. So that's why the use the queens approach is powerfully important when it gets to the main part of the pitch. Switch it up for the main part of the pitch and use the queens.
Remember, we've got 17 gated strategies just waiting for you. All you need to do is bing, subscribe, as well as click the link in the description below to get access to those 17. Get some.